So today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some tips that's been helpful for me to have a healthy work-life balance. If you struggle just like I do with this category, you're going to want to watch this video. So let's get into this video, shall we? Oh, but before we do so, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get into this video. I'm going to be sharing with you some tips on maintaining or managing a healthy work-life balance. But before I do so, I did a video on tips of managing anxiety. And the reason why I want you to check that video is on all the platforms, even here on YouTube as well. It's the acronym that I use. It's called REP. And R stands for realistic tips, E stands for evidence-based tips, and P stands for plant-based tips, which is becoming one of my favorites. And the reason for that is as a whole body wellness coach, I like to incorporate just the whole body itself and using holistic measures. So realistic tip number one for maintaining a healthy work-life balance is prioritizing your tasks. That's something that I had to learn and incorporate over time, but everyone's work-life balance, everyone's work schedule is so different. So prioritizing your task is important. You really have to look at your work schedule and figure out how best to do that, right? And what I mean is prioritizing the most important things. I like to schedule important things either first thing in the morning, just because I don't know how the day is going to go. And we all are familiar with how the days can go. Sometimes we plan it out and it doesn't go as planned. And that typically just throws people off. But another thing for prioritizing your tasks is to have a control over your schedule and feel a little bit more productive, which has been helpful for me. Another thing I do too, in addition to prioritizing my tasks, is visualization. I like to visualize my day the night before or the day of, and that's been super helpful for me. So, think about incorporating that into your routine as well. Let's go for tip number two in realistic, which is unplugging after work. This is where a lot of us need a lot of help, and sometimes, depending on what I'm doing, especially creating content now, I have to learn how to unplug after my day as a psychiatric nurse practitioner and a wellness coach, right? But I like to just take 20 minutes to an hour where it's focused on me. I don't do anything at all. If that means that I want to go to the store and grab me some chocolate, or I want to catch up on shows or read a book or go for a walk, that time for me is to unplug 20 minutes to an hour. And I don't know anyone's life, but that's what I can fit into my life currently. And it's been a definitely big boost in maintaining a healthy work-life balance for me. So let's move on to evidence-based tip number one, which is setting firm boundaries. Research has shown that when you incorporate firm boundaries into your life and into your routine, it helps with maintaining a healthy work-life balance. For me, I have this new rule where I tell myself, no, Francine, you're not responding to this email at this time. No, you're not going out for drinks after this. You need to record. So I like to set firm boundaries, because then I start to feel so overwhelmed with not being able to find my me time, right? And that's really important, which is the premise of this entire video. So evidence-based tip number two that I'll recommend is taking regular breaks. Research also shows that taking regular breaks, even if it's 5 minutes and you're at work, or if you work from home, taking 5 to 10 minutes and just stretching your legs, doing some deep breathing, doing some mindfulness practices has been helpful in maintaining and enhancing your work-life balance. And I did a video on Instagram talking about the Pomodoro technique, and I absolutely love incorporating that into my life. I can talk a little bit about that in another video, but definitely you should check that part out too. Let's move on to plant-based tip number one. I will also give you a bonus in this section as well. But the first thing here is, for maintaining a healthy work-life balance, it's green tea. I know, green tea. But the reason for it is green tea has this compound and it's called L-theanine. And it's been so helpful to just help me to just relax. And I need that, right? Especially if I'm unplugging after work, I have a little bit of green tea. And for some people, they're caffeine sensitive, so that may not work, but I find that it's been so helpful for me to just relax. And tip number two in plant-based is the holy basil. This is actually something new that I discovered. It's called the holy basil and tulsi. The Jamaican in me wants to say Tulsi, so we're gonna stick with whatever pronunciation you feel comfortable going with, but basically it's a herb it's known as like the mother of all herbs, and it helps to just kind of just help you to relax and de-stress, which has been so helpful. I think it's very important that we do that, and that is tip number 2. Peppermint is another thing too that's been helpful. The aroma from peppermint can also help to increase your mental fatigue, right? And this is something that we typically need in order to have a healthy work-life balance. I find that these plant-based remedies has been helpful, but anything, like I said, anything that I'm sharing with you, always do your fact check, always ensure that you can incorporate it into your life safely, because there's so many information on the internet, but like I said, what works for me may not necessarily work for you. So I want to hear from you. What tips and recommendations have you been utilizing in your life to maintain a healthy work-life balance? I want to hear it, because maybe I can incorporate some of that into my life as well, and we can all learn from each other. I think creating this platform and creating this community is where we can all learn from each other in a safe space and be able to like just be a lot more zen and focus on our whole body wellness. So please like, subscribe, share, comment, and tell me some of your tips. Share with me as well, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.